Hello, this is Joyce McCauley. I'm introducing my student project of Green Energy, Longfellow School, 6th grade. Among the criteria expected to be met along lines of the curriculum were in the areas of science, social studies, and communication arts, as well as our technology standards from the International Society for Technology in Education, or ISTE. Within the common core activities were science, as the children identified environmental problems, social studies, economic decisions, communication arts included media and technology communication. The ISTE standards we were looking at were research fluency, criteria critical thinking, communication and collaboration, creativity, innovation, and working with technology, concepts, and operations. Although the children did use various pieces of software and research areas, our main program we used was Energy Kids. They began by taking a quiz. This was also part of this program. The quiz questions were things like, how can electricity be produced? They also asked about Ben Franklin. Where did some energy originally come from? Those were the kinds of questions that were on this quiz, and it was 15 points. Also within this program was a scavenger hunt for energy. It was a PDF file, so the children did do this with paper and pencil. However, they used the EIA.gov Kids program to research, so they had to use their online research skills in order to complete this. Here's an example of some of the questions that they had to research. One of them, of course, was about petroleum and how is it buried, where did they find it. Another question was processing of oil. They also continued with questions on renewable energy sources as well as the non-renewable. The pre and post-test data that is described here shows that the kids did make a 21% gain in understanding of the concepts. And it also lists our demographics. We did have 26% of the students in this class were from our artistic room. 26% had some kind of special needs. And we had 13% of our students were English language learners. As the students learned a little bit about non-renewable and renewable energy sources, we also had worked on building a city. It's an online program, and the kids were required to build the cities by saving energy as well as looking at their economic resources for the city and also what people wanted. They kept a population, they had so many moves in order to finish, and sometimes they went bankrupt and had to start over. So we're going to look at a few of these cities that they finished right now. This particular city, as you can see, went bankrupt, but they also had a camp, they had a hydro plant, holiday park, solar farm, they had wind farms. So they were really trying to work with green energy, but they got a little ahead of themselves and forgot to look at their economic situation. This student did keep their city running, and when they finished, they had it in pretty good shape green energy-wise, but it was a smaller community. It wasn't a large city. Some of them actually got pretty big. And the comments that were made about this city from the student had to do with taxes. So that was another thing they had to focus on, was were the people happy? They would get comments throughout the mode of play where the people would talk about taxes, what resources they wanted, whether they wanted a camp, if they wanted an airport, those kinds of things. In reflection, the students did enjoy the project. I enjoyed listening to their conversations about energy and the consequences of relying on non-renewable sources, even though our society is so dependent upon these kinds of resources. The increase in understanding was 21%, yet the scores were lower than I had expected. I think I didn't access exactly what they learned. I did a test, we did some instruction, but I didn't focus on what the content of the test was as much. They spent quite a bit of time blogging. I could see that there was some understanding. Their writing skills improved as they produced that activity. Creating the cities also enhanced their understanding of the economic conditions to energy sources and available resources and what you could actually do with them. So that was a very positive piece of the project. What I would do differently, partly it would be timing. We were doing this project around the test time, and I would actually change the timing of the project. I think that had something to do with the lower test scores that I saw. But I'll also alter the assessment because I think the assessment was not geared as closely to the actual activities as it should have been. And I will add a quantitative element to a project base and add points as the children go on and finish and complete the project itself. Overall, I think it was a good experience for the students. I enjoyed doing it, and we had a good time learning about energy, learning to blog, and working on online resources. Thank you very much for your attention.